Hey there, I want to show you how to use Infinite Campus specifically for Dillon Middle School, but it could apply to others. There is a lot of information, so I'll go through it as quickly as possible. Please feel free to capture this doc, or I will also provide it for those who want to see the outline of how this will be presented. So first of all, when you use Infinite Campus, I'm going to ask you to go to the settings first because there's a couple of things you'll want to have set which will maintain throughout your usage. I like to go in order, however, I'm going to have you set up seating charts first, show you how to do that, then attendance, gradebook, reports, roster, and then finally campus tools, and I've listed some others that I'll talk about very briefly. So once you log into Infinite Campus, the personalized settings are actually up here under the little person icon. So you go into instruction settings, and I have everything clicked here except for the mute pass fail coloring. When you start adding grades for students, if it's a fail, it will show up red, and if it's a pass, it will be green. It's just a real quick glimpse for the brain to be able to see who's passing and failing, and it shows grades and also scores. Also, this is key right here. Be sure to only show active students. If you don't just have that clicked, it will show all of your students. So that can be not very useful. Next, I want to show you the seating charts. Like I said, we're going out of order just a bit. So seating charts haven't been made yet. So what you have to do first is you have to set up a name. So this will be my first period class, and I'm going to call it first period. And then I will create a seating chart just randomly. It places them in alphabetical order. And then I just pretend these are my desks here. And so then I can move the desks around, and I can place students however I want them in my classroom. And if I want to add a desk, then I can add a new desk here. So for example, I might show my students that I have blank desks right here. And then if I ever want to add students, I just drag and drop when we add new students. And then I would say save. This is how I take attendance, is according to my seating chart. Also, every Monday, I change my seating charts in my classes. So once I save this, then what I can do on my seating chart, if I will go back into that, sorry, we just have attendance here, which is next anyway. Then I can't take attendance right now, but anyway, what I can do is my seating chart would show up to take attendance. And then if I want to randomize this chart, I can go back into it, quarter one, open my chart. Apparently I'm missing, there we go, some fields. So then what I can do is I can clear all of these students. I do that on Monday morning. And then I place the students, and I do it randomly. And then of course I do some adjustments after that. But anyway, that's how I can show the students where they're going to sit, and I can also randomize them. I don't have to do a lot of thinking about it except for specific situations, and it just kind of keeps it fresh and new. Okay, up next is the attendance. I'm going to leave, I don't need to save that. I can't take attendance today. But if I click on attendance, it'll show my seating chart for each of my periods, and I just click on who's gone. But a lot of teachers do it right here through the Teaching Center. So also, it's not a school day, but what you would do is click here, and this would allow you to take attendance. A lot of teachers do that. And what happens then is it shows a list of all of the students in alphabetical order. You just click on the A for absent, and you save and close it, and it's a pretty easy thing to do. Okay, up next is the gradebook. My gradebook is not set up intentionally. I wanted to show you how to do that. So the first thing I would do is go into my settings, and I would click on my categories. I use all of the categories the same, but you might want to add like homework as a category, and classwork as a category, and assessments as a category, and then you might want to weight them differently. So this is where you would do that. Also, you can then paste over those categories. Also, the grade calculation options. So I have to create new categories to do this. But what you can do is you can weight specific categories, like you can make assessments 80% of your grade if you want, or homework only 10% of your grade. And this is exactly where you would do that. Do not change this in progress grade. That needs to stay the same. But this is where you could weight your categories. You can also use the category copier there. Next, the multi-posting, there's a category copier, grades. You can do this under posting grades over here, or, so I'm so sorry it's not showing you this, but at the end of the semester or the quarter, when you go to post over here, you can click multiple sections to post all at the same time. It seems to work more friendly with midterms than at the end of a quarter. So right here, these are the posted grades, and once you have grades posted for the midterm or the quarter, those will show here. But in the meantime, we just have in progress grades, and those are like the active grades. Let me show you how to add an assignment. So I'm just going to return the assignment. I haven't added any categories yet, but let's just say, and I think I call all my categories classwork. Let's just say I have week 1 participation. So it knows that school starts at 9:05. I think the time thing is new. And then maybe it's not due until Friday, the end of the week. I want to make sure this is visible to my class. And then right here, this needs to be set to on all of the time that is necessary. And so you have to set categories in order to do that. And so I'm just going to add a category here that's called classwork. And I'm going to add it to all of my sections and save that since this is having a difficult time. Let me just check really quickly to make sure that my classwork is worth, I'm just going to leave it all as 1 all the way down. Might even do 100 save. I think you could actually just leave it blank and it would be fine. But now that I have added my categories, this also might be more friendly to adding my participation. Week 1 due on Friday at midnight is the default. And so now you'll see that my grading is turned on because I have a category. It automatically provides an abbreviation. It calls it sequence 1. Be careful of this. I do keep track of sequence because otherwise it'll just put it in there in the order. And if you ever need to change the order, like, whoops, I graded something, it was just done yesterday, but I need to put it in from the week before, you might want to change the sequence on that. Also, this sneaky little checkbox right here, if it's not included in the grade calculation, that will sneak up on you. This is where your other categories would be if you had them. Not many of my assignments are worth 100 points, so this is where I have to adjust it. And you can also go into your defaults and make your default just 10 points. If I wanted to add that to all of my sections, then I can say add to all, or I can just add to some. And I would say, okay, save the changes. It's thinking. Close that. So here's my in progress right here. And I'm going to roll those up. And I just want to say that, you know, my kids got really good grades. In fact, if I wanted to, I could even fill the scores if almost all of them had 10 points. I could fill all of them with 10 points. Fill. And now they're green because they're all passing. But if one of my students was not passing, it shows up as red. And as those tally through, you'll see reds and greens all the way across. And then at the end, you can see a final grade right here, and it will also be in colors to show you that. So I find it very handy. Also, if you want to do, once you're allowed to post, the secretaries have to open up the posting window. You can add comments on the report cards. You would just click down on this arrow once it's open, and there are lots of canned comments that you can enter, like frequently late work, absences impacting grade, or you can simply type in the answers or the comments that you want to type. So very handy. Let's move down to reports, which is at the very bottom here. Whoops, reports. Let's leave that. I was supposed to hit save if you didn't catch that. Something new this year that I've never seen before is the stars to go ahead and select your favorite reports. So I have 3 favorite reports. The blank spreadsheet, which provides basically a paper and pencil checklist with 15 available boxes. I have the grades report, which is essentially what I print off and provide for the parents when they come into conferences, so they can have a visual of each of the assignments, and it also puts their attendance on the top. And then the last one is roster, and if I want a preview of all of the students that I have in one day or throughout the entire school year, or just 6th grade or just 7th grade, then I can select how to provide all of those students that I have in my classes. So let me just show you quickly. The blank spreadsheet looks like this. So this would be for section 1, but I can do all of the sections. Unfortunately, I have to choose them individually, and I also group them by section. I don't want my students combined into one. I might call this first quarter. There will be 15 columns. I do like to shade alternate rows. You can use large font, and I do remove inactive students. So if I have these 2 class periods right here, and I'm taking them from quarter 1, by the way, I generate the PDF. From here, I'll be able to see exactly what my sheet will look like, and I'll also be able to print it from there or download it. And then if I had a handwritten pencil, paper, notebook, or grade book, then I would be able to write in the assignments and put them in here. I don't do that anymore because I just put all of my grades in on the computer, which was a huge step for me last year, but this is where I did print those reports. Okay, let's close that report and let's go to the grades report. So if I wanted to print them for all of my students, I could do that, like all of my first period class, and then I could add my second period class, and so on and so forth from first quarter. I could also select all of the terms if I wanted. I could select all the tasks. I don't usually break those down. Instead, I might print all of these, and it automatically breaks them up by section, by the way. Or maybe I just have a meeting with one student. So if I want to see the term dates, section dates, and the course section, and I produce the PDF, it will show me that the student has this grade, and you have to have posted grades on there in order to see what's on there. Except you can get it to show in progress too. It's just not doing that right now because my grade book is new. But I just wanted to show you the possibility of being able to print out it's kind of like an informal report card. And then if I go back to my last one, it's roster. And literally I will print off every student in all of my classes just so I have a preview. It also shows me who has flags and who has IEPs. I can mark those things. And I can have a variety of things over here that I can select if I want birthdays or locker numbers, which is sometimes handy in middle school. I can do that. And so there's a lot of options. I just want you to keep in mind, I kind of had mine set up and it remembers and saves it. And so this would be a list of my first period, first page, and then second page, third page, and so forth and so on. And it prints it very small, but it does put on here whether they a little icon showing flags or IEPs, and it could have any of those other fields that you pulled from. Okay, up next is the roster. I find it useful to be able to print on the links, which are the students' names. It also gives their student ID, their date of birth, their grade, and this is where you would click on an IEP and it literally would take you to the doc, or you can click on a health concern and it will tell you specifically what the health concerns are. That's kind of the main usefulness of a roster, unless you want to print it off. And then the last thing I would like to show you are the campus tools. So I go over here to campus tools. There are a couple of things that are very helpful. Like you can go into special ed and look at general and access the IEPs that way as well, or 504. And you can also just do a general search for students over here. If you want to type in a last name or the beginning of the last name, you can just do a general search for information, which you can also get from the rosters. There's more than one way. This is the only place that you can get the behavior referral. And that would be what we used to call a write-up. So you would start a new referral. You do have to choose a title, so it might be, fight on the playground. You have to choose where the location was specifically. You have to choose the time of the incident, which the default is the current time. A little bit of a description. Here's an example, foul language in Spanish. The location again, location descriptor, and then any details. Try not to put other students' names in the details. That automatically goes to Mr. Rogers and Mrs. Williams. And then you can add other people who were involved in this down below rather than listing them in the details. And that's just what we're asked to do. And then all you do is hit save or submit. Save draft if you want to add more collecting information, or just submit. Automatically goes to principal, counselor, and then they address the issues. And then you can go in later actually and check on the reports of that to see which ones have been handled and what the outcome was. So I think there's a couple of other things on here that I just want to mention quickly, but I don't necessarily want to go over it. So back on the instruction side, I just want to show you lots of teachers post grades from here, although you can post from the gradebook if you would like to. And these are where you can put your canned comments right here. And then you can also change the percentage or grade, and then you'd hit save. You also can see locker numbers, which is super handy because sometimes you just might need to know where someone is living and keeping their bedroom. So that's handy. Roster, we went over all the information you need. You just click on the students' names. And then last is the message center. This is where I receive all of the robocalls and different information from the school. But if you're feeling up to it, you could start a new message and you can figure out how to send that to the students in your class or a parent group. I've done that before and I'm happy to help you with that. I don't have all of the information on here right now as my classroom is not quite set up in August, but I'm happy to help you with any of those things. Again, I hope this was useful to you and I hope it saves you time. If you ever have any questions, let me know. It's possible we'll make other videos later, and I have plans to make one for Parkview as well. Thank you.